The music you just heard is your invitation to settle in and be prepared for our worship service. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Good morning. Welcome to San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or watching at home, whether you are with us for the first time or the thousandth, we're glad you're here. My name is Lionel Laguerre. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm honored to serve as your lay leader this morning. Had a bowl malfunction there, but that happens from time to time. And San Gabriel is a membership congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We're a movement working for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Sustaining each other here in community is one part of that work.
Good morning. I'm Eric Hepburn. I'm your pulpiteer and honored to serve as such. I'm grateful to be here with you this morning, and I'm grateful to all of you who took time out today to be here in person or online. Please join me in reciting the words to light our chalice. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. Let us greet this day in song. Our opening hymn is Guide My Feet, number 348 in the gray hymnal. We will be singing 3 verses. Sometimes we're carrying something on our heart that can prevent us from being fully present. Here in this community, our sharing of these things with each other is medicine, is healing. Like all good medicine, it must be concentrated and potent. So I ask that you aim at 3 strong sentences in your sharing. So if you are carrying a joy or a sorrow or both on your heart, I invite you to share. In this time, while one of us is practicing the vulnerability of praise or grief, the rest of us are practicing the gifts of deep listening, presence, and attention. Please raise your hand for the microphone. Thank you for sharing. And for all that remains unspoken, the love of this community is with you. It's time for our Wonder Box. Deacon, would you be willing to do me the honors and bring up the Wonder Box for me? Thank you, sir. Most kind. All right, so there's an object in the Wonder Box. That's one clue. There's also a written clue. This week's clue is they taught us how to sing and how to fly. You can shout it out. The word is bird. Very good guess. This is the best bird I could come up with. So you're right, it was also a toy bird. Yep. Your accuracy was beyond even what was required. Nice work. All right, let's see what kind of trouble our friends Elephant and Piggy get into when they meet some lovebirds. There is a bird on your head. An Elephant and Piggy book by Mo Willems. Piggy! Is something on my head? Yes. There is a bird on your head. There is a bird on my head? Ah! Is there a bird on my head now? No. Now there are two birds on your head. What are two birds doing on my head? They are in love. The birds on my head are in love? They are lovebirds. Lovebirds. How do you know they are lovebirds? They are making a nest. Two birds are making a nest on my head? Why would two birds make a nest on my head? I am afraid to ask. Do I have an egg on my head? One, two, three. You have 3 eggs on your head. I do not want 3 eggs on my head. Then I have good news. The eggs are gone? The eggs are hatching. Hatching? The eggs on my head are hatching? Cheep, 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 cheep. They have hatched. Now I have 3 baby chicks on my head and 2 birds and a nest. I do not want 3 baby chicks, 2 birds, and a nest on my head. Where do you want them? Somewhere else.
Why not ask them to go somewhere else? Ask them? Ask them. Okay, I will try asking. Excuse me, birds, will you please go somewhere else? No problem. It worked. Bye. Now there are no birds on my head. Thank you, Piggy. Thank you very much. You are welcome. The end.
All children and youth wishing to go to their groups are welcome to exit. Everyone else, will you join me, please, in singing them out? And now I'd like to share with you as our anthem today a recording of Vedic chanting produced by Ravi Shankar on his album Chants of India.
I invite you into a place of deeper stillness and reflection with this translation of the Vedic chant we just listened to. Air is established in my breath in my heart in me, myself in the immortal in the eternal. The sun is established in my eyes in my heart in me, myself in the immortal in the eternal. The moon is established in my mind in my heart and me, myself and the immortal and the eternal. The direction is established in my ears and my heart and me, myself and the immortal and the eternal. The waters are established in the seed in my heart and me, myself and the immortal and the eternal. The earth is established in my body, the body in my heart and me, myself and the immortal and the eternal.
The earth is established in my body, the body in my heart in me, myself in the immortal in the eternal. Today we'll be taking our next steps through our Congregational Read, What It Takes to Heal by Prentis Hemphill. Today's theme is feeling and the body. I hope that the reading and the chanting have you a little primed, because we're not going to start with Eric talking into your brain this morning. We're going to start with the core of all somatic practice. We're going to start with a body scan. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes, to let your attention drift away from me. Let the sound of my voice come to you. So much time we've spent being told that we are not our body. The body has a different truth to teach us. I'm going to invite you first to give some attention to your breath. In through the nose. Hold for a moment. Out nice and evenly. As you complete your out breath, hold for a moment. The idea is to draw a square with your breath. 4 equal legs. Gentle in-breath. Hold. Gentle exhale. Hold. Feel the sensations on your throat, in your chest, as your attention stays on your breathing. When you pause that in-breath, feel the muscles in your chest around your heart. You may be carrying some tension there around your heart. It is a time of heartache. Be present with that feeling. I invite you to let your attention wander to different places in your body. I can't tell you where, but your body can. Listen to it. Somewhere in you is a muscle holding stress, a muscle clenched in an attempt to keep you safe. Give it your attention and your loving kindness. Invite it to relax, knowing that at least in this moment, in this place, you are as safe as you can be. Can you feel the life force that you are? Take your attention out to the tips of your fingers and see if you can feel that your flesh there is alive. Reach down through your torso, down your legs to your toes. Can you feel the life there, yearning to run free in the dewy grass with the sun shining? Let your attention come back up to your mind, which is likely not as quiet as you hoped it would be in this moment. Give your loving attention to your mind. Let your thoughts flow like a stream. You are not fishing for the right thought. You are sitting on a stone in the middle of your own stream of consciousness, allowing it to flow in you and through you. Return your attention to your breath. Make the square bigger. A longer inhale, a longer hold, a longer exhale, a longer hold. Do you feel more space for love and compassion finding itself in your chest? These practices of embodiment are a way to soften ourselves. Why, you might ask, do we need to become soft in a world that feels so hard? In my own vision quest work, the first lesson that was taught to me was the lesson of supplication. The brittle branch breaks in the wind, unable to yield and flow with the forces around it. Softening invites suppleness, an ability to meet a hard world as it is, and while flowing with it, to remain rooted, to remain grounded. Rigidity is not standing for your values. Rigidity is inflexibly being unable to accept things as they are, especially when those truths are uncomfortable. Supplication teaches us to confront the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. This is not disempowerment. This is empowerment. We spoke last week about two kinds of optimism. The first, the optimism of comforting but untrue stories that act like a salve on our anxiety. The kind of optimism that the Stockdale paradox warns us about. Let's let go of the lies and illusions that might feel good to believe, so that we can see the world as it is, in all of its pain and trauma and hardness. And by and through our learning to be and become soft, may we teach that to the world that needs it so. When we turn on the news, we can feel that we are being invited into reactivity, into fear, into anxiety. What is the faithful tonic for such things? Grounding, presence, de-escalation. You see, being a rigid branch is a failure to trust your own roots, to hold you while you sway. Reach down through the soles of your feet and feel that you are loved and supported by each other, by this community, by the earth itself. When you are in touch with that power, you can bend and sway and still stand firm on the side of love. Love is not a hard word. It is not a rigid word. It is a word that invites softening. Softening of the eyes, softening of the heart, softening of the breath. I have more things I want to share with you from this short chapter than we have time for. So let's move in this way. If there was a section of this reading that stood out to you, that resonated with you, I would like you to raise your hand and share that with your colleagues.
Towards the first of the chapter, it talked about crying. And I took some notes. That through crying, healing can occur that can be embodied. And I never thought of that. I personally haven't cried in years and years and years. So now I'm going to think about it.
Thank you, Judy. So I put together the saddest playlist I could imagine, and I made a crying date with myself. I rented a private hot tub, and I took my playlist, and I sat in the warm water and reminded myself that I was in a place safe enough to let the feelings come. That's not me, that's a quote from the book. I do my crying at the beach. I don't like the smell of bromine. It's just a thing. Would anyone else like to share?
I must confess that I'm a crier, so I'm the opposite of Judy. I had a cry this morning. And I thought, can it stop? I thought maybe it was getting over, but it's not. My loss it keeps reoccurring and popping up. And when will it end? I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you for your vulnerability, Dave. My sister asked me when I got this job what I wanted to accomplish. One of the honest things I told her was that I would know we were doing the work we needed to do together when we really felt safe enough to cry together. So, maybe we're not there today, but we'll get there. Anyone else like to share?
I just want to read a few sentences, and how this resonated for me was what we are going to do on Wednesday night when we come together as a collective body. It's our awareness of our bodies and transform them. I think of embodiment as related, but of all the practices, right here, the rituals, here are the ceremonies that people have used across time to transform not only individual bodies, but our collective bodies as well. The ceremonies, dances, and songs that the indigenous cultures around the world has created for birthing, for death, for grief, to prepare for battle and for changing of the seasons. The rituals that give people in the community space to heal and express, where we sync with one another and feel the presence of what we shared that lies beyond words. And that's what I see we do here today and through other practices.
Thank you, Michelle. That's beautiful. Anyone else? I was going to save this for announcements, but if you look around, since Michelle broached it, we are going to get together on Wednesday night. We're going to have a vigil. We're going to follow the vigil with a drum circle. But around you, you will see the 5 gates of grief on the wall. I invite you before you leave today to walk past each one and sit with it for a moment in preparation for our vigil on Wednesday night. The first gate of grief: everything we love, we will lose. Everything that we love, we will lose. The second, the places that have not known love. Most of us in our walking of this path of life have had some places within us that we were encouraged to neglect. Some parts of us that were too much. Maybe they reminded our parents of the parts of themselves that they didn't love in themselves. The third gate of grief, very salient in this moment, the sorrows of the world. Genocide, ecological disaster. It's out there and it's real, and even when we think we're ignoring it, we're still feeling it. We're not as separate from the rest of life as our culture would have us believe. The fourth gate of grief. This is a big one this last couple weeks. What we expected and did not receive. The words wise leadership are just flashing in my brain like a giant neon sign. What I expected and did not receive. And the final one, ancestral grief. We just can't get past the fact that colonialism, patriarchy, racism, these are long-standing patterns of dehumanization that we all carry around with us. There is no attempt to dehumanize another that does not dehumanize the one attempting to do it. Violence harms both the victim and the perpetrator, but not in the same way. But both of those wounds have to be healed to bring us back into right relationship with one another. Let's talk about numbing for just a minute. There are some very culturally endorsed ways of numbing in our world. Alcohol, drugs, social media, sex, escapes that we use so we don't have to feel what's going on. Y'all have heard me say before that shame is not a social justice tool, and it isn't. Because shame is believing I am bad, not I have done a bad thing. So we hear shame and guilt paired a lot, shame/guilt, as if they were the same thing. It is a tremendously important distinction. Shame is the belief that because of something you did that you are a bad person. Guilt is the belief that you did a bad thing. It leaves the door open on learning and growing and healing, and we need that door. So, numbing is not shameful. There are moments when it is the right thing to do, when the feelings you're having are too overwhelming for you to metabolize in that moment. And there is no shame in that. But when numbing becomes a habit, we call it an addiction. And then it does become a deep problem for us. So I just invite you to be mindful about that in this time. One of my favorite lines from this chapter, which makes me think of the first line of our regular benediction, make your question a quest. So we say every week, questions more powerful than answers. Make your question a quest. I thought of a parallel from something else that we've been talking about, which is to make your trigger a trail. We've talked about this, right? That your trigger, that thing that triggers you into reactivity, is an invitation for you to learn something deeper about yourself. A lesson your body can teach you. To feel an emotion is to allow it and let it run through. To learn from what it is telling you, about your relationships. Dave brought this up for me. Once upon a time, not too long ago, my grandmother died. And I thought, along the same vein that Dave expressed, that, well, if I just make some time, I'll just go get this out of my system. So I went out to West Texas by myself, sat around a fire all night, and the grief didn't come. And I thought, man, I set aside time for this and everything. Where are my feelings? Did I forget to pack them in my bag when I packed the car this morning? This goes back to that supplication thing I was talking about. Your body is not here at the convenience of this thing up here. They are one thing, although we have been taught otherwise. You have to be ready for the winds of your feelings when they blow. You don't get to pick the time. Now, as Prentis teaches us, you can send an invitation. You can put together a playlist of your saddest songs and invite yourself to sit with those feelings. But you can only welcome them. You can't force them. I'm going to end on this note today. We can't think our way out of this moment that we're in. We struggle with questions like, what do we do with toxic people in our lives? We struggle with the question of, what do we do when the feelings of despair and loneliness and sadness overwhelm us? we must become supple to weather such storms. That means spending some time deepening our roots and softening our body. Deepening our roots and softening our body.
We take an offering each week to sustain the spiritual home and to support the work of our fellowship. If you're visiting, we invite you to fill out a visitor card, which you can put in the plate or return to the visitor table in the back. For offertory music, we have Bringing in the Sheaves by George Minor and Noel Shaw, performed by Judy Mayo and Joe Nesson. The offering will now be greatly received. Thank you.
Sometimes we're called to add our voice to the chorus. Sometimes we're called to speak aloud the message resonating in our own hearts. If you're called to reflect, express gratitude, or share an announcement, please raise your hand for the microphone.
Let me just start off by saying, Sarah wanted to let you all know that there is going to be a Sunday services after tea and conversation here in the fellowship house.
Hey everybody, two things. One, I want to express a great amount of gratitude to Kelly McGinty for everything she does with the drum circle and making sure we have snacks for afterwards and all of the work that she does around that. Secondarily, an announcement, which is that Unity and Recovery is a new recovery meeting. If you know anyone who is struggling with issues, whether it's just the fact that they've started numbing too much or whether they have active addiction, we meet here on Thursday nights at 7:30. It is not a traditional Alcoholics Anonymous or other (A) meeting. It is a secular meeting that is derived from the 12 steps. So if you know anybody or are interested in even coming to see what it's about, please feel free. I am here every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. to be here for anybody who needs that help. And with the climate today, it's something that I feel is absolutely necessary for us to do.
I wanted to remind everybody who is involved that we have a membership committee meeting in the fellowship house today at 12 noon.
I've got a couple different announcements. First, thank you for the people who have brought in their UU World magazines, if they're done with them. And for those of you that are new and are not receiving them, they're on the welcome table. Feel free to take one. Secondly, next Sunday is our annual Thanksgiving potluck. Molly Hornbuckle's kind of organizing that, and she asked me to remind you that if you would like to bring a dish to share, there's a sign-up sheet on the corner of the welcome table as well. You can see what other people have signed up to bring and how you might want to fill in the blanks. We're looking for the side dishes and desserts and those sorts of things.
I'm Rob Berthold. I'd like to express some gratitude for our facilities group, headed up by Lou Sneed. Recently, they replaced the lights in our sign out in front, so now when you drive by it at night, it's nicely lit up and you can read it from at least a block away. Lou is also leading the effort to install a new playscape out and back. Some of you may have noticed a plot of ground out by the little house. There's a kind of a hole that's been dug out of the grass, and that's the start of the effort to install that. Thank you, Lou. And Lou also has been involved in, along with some help of some others, I think Jeff Noble's fixing various plumbing problems that we have. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. As we talk about Thanksgiving, let us think about those that maybe don't have a place to gather. So November is National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Month. So if you will, please keep that in mind. And as you noticed in our messenger, we are collecting Thanksgiving-related items for our little food pantry, so we appreciate your support on that. It's also Native American Heritage Month. And I challenge you to rethink our stories of Thanksgiving and watch your messenger. We're going to try to post some previous pre-recorded services that we did in 2020 and 21, where we had Ben Nava here locally from our Native American group, and John Lehman, a Sun City resident, was interviewed, who's a citizen Potawatomi. So watch for those links. Folks, we made the newspaper with our T-shirt memorial display. So if you haven't had a chance, maybe take a moment to go out and think about those who have died and suffered under the gun violence. We'll see. There was a request for additional interviews. We'll see if that happens. But I appreciate all those who participated and that you put our church name out there, that we do care about justice and peace and find ways to advocate to do so. You may have noticed a slide that appeared today about Share the Plate. That's actually going to occur next Thursday, Thanksgiving, next Sunday at our potluck. That collection, any loose change, will go towards our UUA, our national organization, their disaster relief program, to assist those who have recently incurred damage by the hurricanes and floods, etc. So any loose money that you put in there, but if you want to write a check, make it to SGUUF and just put in the memo, UUA disaster. So thank you for your attention.
All right, I talked a little bit about it, but just a reminder, We will be having a post-election vigil here this coming Wednesday night. It will be a half hour later than last time. It'll go from 6:30 to 8:30. The vigil will be from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. We will have childcare during that window. The drum circle will be from 7:30 to 8:30. Okay, now I got two asks. So Hush will be working childcare from 6:30 to 7:30, but I need one other volunteer to work childcare. And I'm not asking you that generically. I'm looking for a hand to go up and say, I will do it. 6:30 to 7:30 on Wednesday. Thank you, Michelle. All right, the second one is that Kelly McGinty, who usually is the force behind making sure that the drum and fire pits are ready, cannot be here on Wednesday night. So I need, what?
An amendment.
Yes.
I will be here to set up the fire pit. I will go to my meeting. I will return at night.
Thank you, Kelly. I was trying to fill your shoes, but I'm glad I don't need to. Thank you. I look forward to the Wednesday night vigil. Also, just some gratitude to Aaron, June, and Ashley, who have helped coordinate what we're going to do this coming Wednesday. It's so fun. I like flying solo, but it's even better to collaborate with people and to get to feel other people's wisdom come into the process as we design it. It's a blessing. Just a quick update, we are still fundraising to fund a position for our youth religious education for the spring. If you have not yet made a donation and you're thinking about it, I would ask that you let Rob Berthold know between now and Thursday. On Thursday night, we have a board meeting and we're going to decide how much money we have, what strategy we're going to use to move forward. So if you would like to be one of those families who helps fund this spring youth religious education special project, please let Rob know today or send him an email or a text. Thank you all for sharing and for connecting us to each other and the world beyond. Our second hymn is Wake Now My Senses. It's number 298 in the gray hymnal. Lyrics will be projected. Please rise in body or spirit as you're able.
Correction, the Sunday services is going to be here. What is it called? The Common House?
Just here.
It's just going to be here after coffee. So, as we prepare to return to the world, we remind ourselves through our affirmation to carry our work from this place to every corner of our lives. Please join me in call and response. Love is the doctrine of this church. We are here to love. The quest of truth is its sacrament. We are here to learn. Service is its prayer. We are here to care for others. To dwell together in peace. We are here to live in peace. To seek knowledge and freedom. We are here to honor our differences. To serve humanity in fellowship. We are all connected in spirit. To the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. We are here to grow. Thus do we covenant with one another. This we promise to do together. Please join me in reciting the words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame to remind us, as we explore the rest and engage in hail, real remains the center. Where all the sea is cold ashes, love remains.
May you find questions more profound than answers, play more proficient than mastery, vulnerability more powerful than invincibility, supplication more productive than control, and a peace that passeth all understanding. Go in peace.